we carry on with this introduction to the Ngondro. And we were talking about motivation. Motivation is so important. It's through our motivation that it determines what we say and our actions, what they are. If we are full of kind thoughts, if our thoughts and our aspiration is, or our motivation is full of kindness, then what we say and what we do is full of kindness. If, however, our thinking or our motivation is full of anger, jealousy, arrogance, then what we say and what we do is full of anger and jealousy and arrogance. So it's very important to watch what is our motivation. In the motivation of the practices, there's the motivation of just wishing for a better life. Why a better life? Because by reducing our afflictive emotions and being kinder to others, our life is better. For future lives, maybe fear of samsara, fear of future suffering in future lives, or wish for a better future life. This can also be our motivation. Or for our own liberation. The purpose of our practice may be really for our own liberation. However, the best motivation is to practice to attain Buddhahood, practice to transform one's own mind and to benefit countless suffering sentient beings. So really aspire to the highest realization, the greatest benefit for everybody. And in the practices, we will start with the 4 outer preliminaries. We'll start with the preciousness of human life. And it's so important that we have this life. We're so fortunate to have this life, that we've got the merit, that we are able to attain this precious human life. So really cherish it, really use it to the best of abilities, for the highest purpose. Make it really meaningful. And that would also be that we have this opportunity to practice the Dharma. And really we have met a really incredible, or encountered a really incredibly pure lineage with really special teachers. So really use this opportunity to practice. Don't waste it. However, everything is changing in this world. Nothing stays the same. And we're going to die one day. So when we die, what's going to have such a big influence on the time that we die is how we lived our life. And also, don't take it for granted. Don't take this life for granted. Don't think, oh, I'll wait until tomorrow to practice, or I'll wait until the next day to practice, and procrastinate. Otherwise, then we don't really start. And then at the time of death, we may really regret the fact that we didn't practice. And the practice can bring us so much benefit. Every day, every moment, we're going through births and deaths. So birth and death is happening around us all the time. So very important, as Buddha said, of the most important practices is impermanence. What did he say? The most special, or the most incredible of all of the animals' footprints is that of the elephant. So too, the most important of the practices is that of impermanence and death. Then there's the suffering of samsara, and we've all experienced suffering. Every one of us has at some stage experienced physical pain, mental anguish, anxiety, stress, unhappiness. So we're all aware of suffering. And then there's the suffering of all of the other realms. And really, if any of the realms should really be freed from their suffering first, don't you think it would be those of the lower realms? They are the ones that are suffering the most. So surely that's who we should be wishing first to be free of suffering. Compared to them, our suffering is really very little. Anyway, we will keep on revolving around in the cycle of samsara. So it's important to know the defects of samsara, and also wish to be free from the samsara, to attain enlightenment, to attain liberation. What causes this is our ignorance and the causes and conditions. Whatever the infallibility of cause and effect, nothing happens without a cause. So whatever actions that we are engaging in will create the causes and conditions for our future happiness or suffering. So all the actions with the motivation that we're engaging in will plant those seeds, those karmic seeds in our mind stream, and later on those karmic seeds, when the causes and conditions come together, will bring about either positive results or negative results, depending on our motivation, the motivation for which we entered into those actions. So very important is our motivation. How do we check that motivation? Through awareness. How do we take great care of what causes and conditions we are creating? Through awareness. One is to have the right mindfulness and awareness, to really understand what the causes of happiness are and the causes of suffering are, and then not to engage in them. How do we not engage in them? Through meditation or through awareness. What's arising? This thought, this motivation is going to cause suffering for me or others. Let me let go of this motivation. This is a really good motivation. This creates positive causes. Let me engage in this action or in this speech. However, if we don't have awareness, we just automatically follow our old habits and we enter into negative karma, do negative things. So very important is awareness. The greater our awareness, the quicker we see which thoughts are arising and the more opportunity we have to transform them. Sometimes we don't transform them. Why? Because we don't have that awareness. We are already acting or saying things according to what we were thinking. We're following those habits. The other is we see it, but we still don't have that meditative concentration and ability to transform that thought. And then the third is that sometimes we actually don't want to change it. We quite happily want to carry on with these negative habits of ours. If we have that ability, if we have that awareness, as those thoughts arise, we can transform them. And we don't engage in negative thoughts or negative actions or negative speech. These great masters, what is one of their great abilities is that as a thought arises, they have already noticed that thought, they realize the essence of that thought, and it's liberated, so it doesn't become an action. And so they're really free. They're free and natural, and they have choice about what they want to say, what they do. They're not bound by past negative karma and past habits. So this is also renunciation. And then after this, we then practice the refuge. And refuge is very, very important. Sometimes we think, we're going to take refuge. We just do 100,000 prostrations and recite 100,000 mantras. This is just a beginning. This is just really transforming our mind to this attitude of taking refuge. We really take refuge until we attain enlightenment. It's like medicine. We take the medicine until we are healed. And then when we're healed, we don't need the medicine anymore. Similarly as well, we follow these practices all the way to enlightenment. And once we've attained enlightenment, then we don't need these practices anymore. However, we're going to take refuge, or we don't have to take refuge anymore. Our mind has already attained the state of enlightenment. So refuge practice is very, very important. It's like saying, I have this belief, and really following through on that belief all the way through to the end. I really believe that these practices, that the Dharma can help me attain realization, can help me attain enlightenment. And then bodhicitta, what an incredible, amazing aspiration. What an incredible, amazing practice. This is really the essence of Mahayana Buddhism and Vajrayana, or great perfection. Very important, check your motivation. Are you really practicing bodhicitta? Is your motivation really bodhicitta? If you're just reciting things, but your motivation isn't really that to benefit all sentient beings, then maybe you're practicing Hinayana, although the prayers that you are making are that of Mahayana or great perfection practices. Really, to be practicing Mahayana or Vajrayana, it's very important, great perfection, that your aspiration is to benefit countless suffering sentient beings and to attain enlightenment. It's really such an incredible aspiration, such an incredible practice. Before I met Buddhism, I really didn't think about or even consider that there was this aspiration to wish for all beings to be free from suffering and to have every single happiness, and to be with great joy I may celebrate or have joy or rejoice in that happening for everybody else. Anyway, that was my own limited way of thinking before I met Buddhism, and I just say this because I think it's such a great, incredible aspiration, but it's not something that I have a realization in yet. This we're still working and practicing on. And also that we have the wisdom in these practices of wisdom emptiness. So really, just including bodhicitta, already we can see how vast and how profound these preliminary practices are. And then we practice vajrasattva. This is purification practice. And it's like purifying a vessel. We clean the vessel so that it's whatever we put inside won't be affected by any old dirt. The same as well, we purify ourselves of all our negativity, all our negative karma, and so that we are a pure vessel, an open, vast vessel to receive the new teachings. And we, in that way, if we're pure and open, we don't add all our old habits to the practices. It's also very good to have forgiveness of ourselves and of others. And then the practice of mandala is accumulation of merit, so that when we receive those additional practices afterwards, that we have sufficient merit to practice and to really realize those practices. So whoever is embarking on these practices in the Ngondro, really rejoice in this. Enjoy the practices. Really apply yourself in the practice.